The FujiCast is an independent loading zone production.
Thursday, 23rd of April.
The FujiCast.
Hello, welcome to the FujiCast, the daily FujiCast. It was, of course, weekly. Now it's daily while we're all... Are we locked in or isolated, Kev? What is the correct language for this? Are we locked in or isolated?
No, you're isolating when you're ill. If you're ill or you've got symptoms, you're isolating. If you're not ill and you haven't got symptoms, you're just stuck at home.
Well, that's what I said to Sam. I said, who's isolated? Why are they isolated? Because she was talking about one of the teachers at school. I said, why are they isolating? And she said, no, everybody's isolating.
No.
So, no, that's wrong. I thought we were in lockdown.
Yeah. Isolating means one person. So you're self-isolating, you're by yourself in the bedroom, and that's it until you feel better.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm obviously I can't go back in and say I was right because Kev said so, because that would cause a hell of a row. But I did wonder. Anyway, welcome to the lockdown daily show, which has taken over from the Monday show for the moment. Whatever genre of photography you're into, whatever kind of camera you shoot with, it really doesn't matter. This is all about the photo community. That's what this daily show is about. As I understand it, unless Alan Gump, who's very good at stuff like this, can prove otherwise, I think it fair to say that we are the only, or if not the only, one of the only 2 or 3 max daily photo shows on the whole planet.
Go us.
I love your enthusiasm. Talking of planets, there was a meteor shower last night. Did you see it?
I didn't know. I was watching a film with Gemma, but I did see some of the pictures on the Facebook group were very impressive.
Yeah, and also the last couple of days, Elon Musk has sent like 40 satellites winging their way across. They've just happened to, we happen to be in the right part of the world to see them at the moment. So Elon Musk's 40, and apparently he's sending another 1,200 up or something. Where on earth does he get all this money from?
What are they for?
I suppose telecommunications, stuff like that, I would imagine. I mean, what else would you... I mean, 1,200 seems quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, but he sells cars. I don't get it.
And not very many of those.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Elon Musk is a clever bloke, but I don't know where he gets all this money from. There must be a money tree over at Musk HQ. Surely. Can I make a mention before we even start, and sparing your blushes, for the Ministry of Shadows? This latest story by Brett Walker is absolutely phenomenal, Kev.
I know, it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Makes me embarrassed to put my own pictures on there.
No, it shouldn't. But it was. You can tell I'm speechless. If you don't know what the Ministry of Shadows is, this is what Kev's been working on for the last couple of weeks. And it's your brand new black and white, for the love of black and white site, isn't it? Really. Yeah,
basically, it's obviously a lot of my stuff on there, but I want it to be a submission-based community stuff. So head on over to ministryofshadows.co.uk, check out the submissions page, but more importantly, check out the stories. And Brett's one today was amazing. The first submission was a couple of days ago, and that was Tom Price's Daily Commute, London Daily Commute, which was equally as good. It's good. It's good fun. I enjoy it. It looks really smart on a screen as well. It's on a mobile phone, you're not going to get the same impact. But it's a lot of fun.
I'm looking on my big 27-inch, and Lalibela, which is the story by Brett Walker, you're right. You do need to see these images large. It needs to feel like a gallery expedition almost, doesn't it? To be honest, but the story behind Brett. I won't read the whole thing because I want you to go and see it. At the beginning of 2019, I was diagnosed with a rare form of bowel cancer. As you can imagine, it was a life-changing event. Ultimately, I ended up on the operation table and a few days recovery in the hospital where I got to contemplate my life. From there, the story just builds until he goes on the most amazing photo journey. I mean... ministryofshadows.co.uk. You can read it. I don't want to spoil it for you. But so what are you looking for when people want to send you stories, Kev? What? Because obviously you could end up with 1,001. I'm going to be cautious about this because I'm a wedding photographer, but it would be so easy to end up with 1,001 wedding stories. I wouldn't imagine that's quite what you're looking for.
Well, there's no real, there's no real rules as such. So I want it to be community. So whatever you think is a story is a story. And of course, I haven't put any of my wedding stuff up there just yet. Perhaps I will in time. But maybe there's a sequence of images from a particular wedding that create a story in their own right. I'm looking for striking black and white. So ideally stuff that's got a really good understanding of light and contrast and all of that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really matter too much what the story is, as long as there is a story. So 20 pictures of your selfies in the mirror is not really a story as such.
No, not really. Is that what it is? 20 pictures? Is that what makes up a submission for this?
No, so submission has to be a minimum of 10 pictures, and there has to be, I've suggested, at least 200 words to the story.
Okay.
More of words and more pictures is better, preferably not less.
So those submitting have to write their own story, clearly, and then at least 10 pictures.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all on the submissions page.
Oh, I've got... Yeah, well, sorry. I should have read it. I could send in... I tell you what I've got, Kev. I've got a cracking story from when I went to Australia.
I don't want any of your rubbish pictures on there.
I thought you'd say that. Oh,
no, I was thinking about you actually earlier today.
What, in the shower?
What? You still having showers?
Do you know what? I've noticed this because I have cold showers, all right? Because I'm following this Wim Hof thing at the moment, where I do my breathing. There's a particular breathing technique in the morning. It takes about 10-15 minutes. Then out for a walk, stroke, jog, whatever I feel like, and then back for a blasting cold shower. But I've noticed, because I put it on cold, so it sits there on cold, all right? But I can tell that Sam hasn't had a shower now for 3 days.
Oh, she's gonna go absolutely crazy with you.
But honestly, I know.
In a bath?
Well, no, because the same mixer tap works for the bath as the shower.
Oh, Sam.
Anyway, sorry, you were going to say you've stopped showering.
I was thinking that you've got loads of pictures. You should definitely do a submission, not weddings, preferably, but you've got other stuff. You've got loads of good stuff.
Well, you say my wedding stuff's not right. I have got other stuff, but it's funny if I look back at what. There was a question like this. There's a whole raft of questions here, so it's somewhere in here about do you actually manage to shoot your own pictures? And I have to say that I was talking to my good friend Giles earlier today, and I said to him, "Do you know, I don't think I've taken. Maybe if I've taken 15 pictures, I'd be amazed."
Yeah.
Same
as me really. I haven't taken too many at all. A couple, but yeah.
I've done a lot of filming, but I've not used it for stills at all. I must remind myself and get out the book.
But don't forget, you can submit films as well to the Ministry of Shadows.
Oh, can you? Oh, I haven't made any black and white ones. Now that would be a fascinating project, black and white film. I don't think I've ever made a full black and white one.
That's why I'm in the process of planning. Feature film it is.
Really?
It's going to be 2 hours long.
Yeah. What's it going to be about?
It's going to be about stuff, and it's going to have people in it.
Planning's going well then.
That's the planning, yeah.
Okay. Right, Nigel Hayward can kick off today's stories. Stories. I'm still on stories. Questions. Now, this is one that came in a long time ago, and it's been. And I'll tell you why I haven't got to it. Number one, there's been a bit of preoccupation going on with things happening in the world, but equally, he was stuck in one of those yellow folders that we both share in the morning when you come in to record the show. Usually, when we're allowed to meet up, and that yellow folder, your yellow folder, this one was in that yellow folder. And it was only because I couldn't find some masking tape that I had to go into every single cupboard. I thought, oh, there's the yellow folder. I wonder if there's any questions in there. Here it is. Nigel Hayward. I'd like to thank Kev and yourself for an excellent evening at the celebratory podcast recording. This will be the 1 year anniversary show. So we're looking back in January, aren't we?
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah, it does feel like it. Nigel Hayward, I felt like Charlie Bucket winning the last golden ticket. The opportunity to look at all the Fujifilm cameras and lenses under one roof was a dream come true, as it was to see Kev get into the spirit with a healthy glow from Gemma's handy makeup brush. You didn't tell me you were doing makeup at the back of the set. What was going on?
I didn't do makeup.
Well, that's what he thinks he saw.
Maybe she was just poking me in the eye. She always does that.
I don't know why you disappeared half hour before. Maybe she was poking you in the eye, yeah. So he's got a question for you. This is for you. So the question I would like to ask is, can Kevin tell us in 1 minute? Yes, I know why. Yeah, because it wasn't... Yeah, we were talking about Just a Minute. For the American audience, by the way, Just a Minute. I know. I feel I should set this up before I read the rest of his question. Just a Minute was a tremendously popular BBC radio programme where you got two panels and a question was asked, and they had to talk for 1 minute on this subject without, was it hesitation?
Repetition.
Repetition, you're right. And what's the other one?
Deviation.
Yes. In fact, it's written down in his bit here as well. That's me looking for it in my mind.
No, funny enough, Emily Renier sent me a message yesterday saying, you should try Just a Minute.
That's bizarre, isn't it? That is very Twilight Zone.
I think this is an indication people are getting a little bit fed up of our ramblings.
Do you think so? Should we
Keep
stop?
on track.
Make Friday the last day of the weekend off?
Yeah, let's just call it quits. Let's not do any more.
Yeah, all right. See you later.
Bye.
So that's what Just a Minute is, and the host of it, Nicholas Parsons, sadly passed on earlier this year, didn't he?
He spent 98 though, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, very good innings, as they say in the UK. So the question I'd like to ask is, Kevin, can you tell us in 1 minute, without hesitation, deviation or repetition, see you'd written it there, why you enjoy wedding photography, in a tribute to the late and the great Nicholas Parsons. Thanks again for a wonderful evening, including the after-show event at the Irish pub with a unique man who set up shop in the gents' toilet, selling you everything you might need if you were on the pool.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Do you remember? Every time I went to go out, he'd say, would you like, various things? I'd say, I really don't need them. I'm fine, thanks.
I went in at the beginning of the evening and I saw him and I just did a great big sigh. I gave him £2 and said, no, look, I'm going to be coming back and forth quite a lot. That's all I'm giving you.
I did exactly the same thing. But I didn't give him £2. Right. I've with no expense spared. We had a big production meeting, just me and me, and we made a 1 minute timer. Okay. Now the game on the radio, you've got to be very careful here because the BBC are very protective over their stuff. So this is a tribute, I want you to understand, to the late great man that presented that show, Nicholas Parsons. In no way, shape or form are we intending to do this every single day or indeed week. But this is our tribute. We're not even using the same sound effects that you use on the show, which usually includes hooters during it, or a buzzer rather during it, and a whistle. And the idea of the game is that you're going to start answering the question. If, for any reason, I think you've deviated, or you've repeated something, or you hesitated, I have the right to say, well, I'm not going to buzz in, because that's the way they do it. But I'm just going to say, right, deviation, or something like that. And then I carry on. And then if you hear me do those things, then you have to sort of come in and say, right, you repeated yourself and you carry on. And it's the last man standing, really, when it gets the 1 minute buzzer. Okay.
This is going to be, I can't even say my own name without deviating or repeating or hesitating.
I did try this a few times. I mean, I love that show. And I have tried this a few times when driving into weddings and back out of weddings and stuff like that, the weekends listening to it. And I've never, ever got to a minute on anything because I hear an and that's a hesitation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And that's my vocabulary.
Are you ready then? 1 minute on the clock. You're going to start because you got Nigel challenged you, not me. So I'm going to jump in. So it's 1 minute on why you enjoy wedding photography, starting now.
I enjoy wedding photography because it allows me to...
hesitation. When I became a wedding photographer, I thought, my goodness, this is never going to last, because I thought I'd have to do this again every single weekend. What?
You went,
I did, didn't I? Your turn.
Yeah. I also enjoy wedding photography, just like Neil does, because it allows me to get right in the mix with people who are passionate about themselves, and I'm passionate about taking pictures.
No, you repeated passionate.
Damn.
I often use Fujifilm 56mm lens when I go out to record pictures for my wedding photography, because I find that is a focal length that really works for me, because I don't have to get...
what? You said because...
Right, okay, your turn. 10 seconds on the clock, go.
At weddings, I like to photograph close up, and I also like to photograph far away.
No, you've got to keep going. Hesitation. I could have leapt in there.
That was rubbish. We're rubbish.
I thought, at the end, I thought with 10 seconds to go, come on, Kev, you've got this in the bag.
I know, and I couldn't think of anything to say. 500 weddings, 13 years, and I couldn't think of one thing to say.
Oh, I'm going to put it over there in the so disappointed with ourselves pile. That's a very good game, though. Thank you very much, Emily, and of course also to Nigel for suggesting that. I'd like to do that more and more, except that I think you can probably get away with it once as a real nod to the great man and the great show, but we couldn't do it all the time. But it was quite fun.
I couldn't do it all the time.
No. How on earth do they do it on that show?
Yeah, very clever people.
I mean, they are. Right, do you want a normal question?
Yes, please.
Uri Haas has written in. Hi, chaps. Question about bags, because I know you both like a camera bag, all right? What do you use? Short question, I know. Love the show. Hoping you'll come to Scotland with a live show soon. Well, do you know, I'd like to go anywhere with a live show right now, Uri, but Scotland does sound very nice, yes. What do you use then, Kev? Well, you got your special one, haven't you?
I've got several bags, yeah. So I've got the one I use for weddings, so presumably that's what he's on about. Primarily at the moment is the Domkey something one. I have no idea what it's called. It's about 10, 12 years old.
Right.
It looks like a tool bag. It looks like something you throw tools in.
I thought you used your really posh, really lovely one that you bought a few years back.
I don't use that for weddings.
Oh, do you not? It's like a Sunday best bag, is it?
Yeah, correct. Right. Yeah. That's a man bag. That's a man around town bag.
Ah.
It doesn't look like a camera bag. Yeah, that's a Hawks Mill camera bag. Very expensive, but very, very nice.
Okay.
What do you use?
Think Tank Airport Express. I think Airport Essentials or Airport Express. It's a small one that fits into. Essentially, you can take this and put it into the Ryanair luggage holder thing that tells you if your luggage is too big. It's the smallest but largest one I can find that fits into that, and it's quite light as well. But it's not as fancy as yours.
No, well, my day bag, my man bag, yeah, that's very fancy.
But I have got a real collection of bags in the shed, I've got to say, and I just can't I can't bring myself to throw any of them away.
Oh, I did. I got rid of loads just before the lockdown when I sold a load of cameras.
You sold your bags?
I didn't sell them. I took them to the pub and gave them to friends.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
None of them are photographers though, so they were like.
What are they doing with them?
Well, they're using them in their sheds, and some of them gave them to their kids. The mother-in-law had one.
Were some of those quite expensive? I mean, leather ones, right? Did you have any nice ones in there?
Some of them were old kind of leather ones. Yeah, they were. I mean, they're all. Even the Think Tank thing that I had, that again was about 10 years old. I probably bought that for about 250 quid when it first came out. The thing is about camera bags, right? Is they seem to put the word camera bag at the front and then add a couple of zeros on the end. Yeah. But actually, they're just, one of the best ones I ever had. I can't remember what it was called now. Yeah. I got for 29 quid off Amazon. Really? It wasn't a camera bag as such. It was like a day bag, but I used that for my street photography for years.
Yeah.
And then I had the Magnum one. That was nice.
Oh, hang on a minute. Somebody's coming in. Hello, we're recording the show. What would you like?
The shower.
No point saying sorry quietly. You've interrupted by coming in.
We have made a Mr. Dinkles trailer.
You've made a Mr. Dinkles trailer.
Yeah.
Good. That's fascinating. Thank you very much for the information.
Bye.
It's newsworthy.
He wanted to show you Mr. Dinkles.
I've seen Mr. Dinkles. If you're probably wondering who Mr. Dinkles is, aren't you?
Yeah.
Pet names.
Don't you have a Mr. Dinkles?
Don't be rude.
Go on, be off with you. Shut that door. Pull the handle.
Was that Jack or Thomas?
No, that was Thomas. Well, last night we watched the Trolls movie.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, but the new one that's out, because of course it can't be on in the cinema, can it? So we bought it on, Sky or something? Anyway, there's a character in it called Mr. Dinkles. Already he's got a knitted Mr. Dinkles thing. Puppet, yeah. Where were we anyway? The bag. Yeah, camera bags. Yeah, sorry. Life goes on. At least they're not using the loo today. Should we just do the next question? I knew there was a reason why I prepared the moo noise, because Tony Healy, hello chaps, sterling effort old boys for the Daily Show. Not sure I like the phrase old boys. It's been said a few times now, but I'm finding it's become part of my life. I work on a farm and you've become the daily milking listen. Just one request, Neil. Whenever you play the mooing sound, it makes me jump out my skin, because the headphones are sound cancelling and my brain takes more than a second or two to wonder why suddenly I'm able to hear the cattle when I shouldn't be able to. There we go. That's made you jump out your skin. Photography is a hobby. No plans to go pro or even part-time. I'm a real dabbler with kit. I own a Canon 6D Mark II, and I'm lucky enough to have a Leica M8 too. I had a Leica M8. Have you ever had a Leica? No?
I had one for 2 weeks.
Did you? Did you not like it?
I liked the Leica, but it was a loan thing, so I had to go back. I couldn't possibly afford it. And it was. The pictures, the one or two pictures I did manage to get in focus were very, very good.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. I must admit, the M8, the sensor in the M8 was blooming hopeless, but it was lovely to use. It was a very satisfying click. Anyway, there was a gift from his parents a few years back, he says. I bought an X100F, though, just before Christmas, but it's still in its box. So any suggestions for some setups? Mainly, I suppose what he means is how to set the camera up. Mainly, I want to keep the camera on me full time, and I know the low light will be better than my M8. So, Kev, some suggestions. Keep going with the dailies, put a smile on my face, even on the rainy days. And my girls don't want a grumpy herder, as they say.
Well, first thing you've got to do is take the camera out of the box, of course.
That's first base, isn't it, really?
Charger batteries, all that stuff. I would say, there's settings beyond settings, isn't there? But I did do on my YouTube channel. There's a video about all my 7 custom JPEG settings, and I've given them different names. So you can go and set that up for yourself if you wish, or tweak them so wish. But really, honestly, what I always say to people when they've got a new camera like that and they haven't used the Fujifilm system before, stick everything on A and just start taking pictures, and then you can start working backwards from there. Right. Just enjoy it. Stick it in black and white and send some submissions.
Oh, yeah. You might get on straight away. Who knows? Ben Gillet. I know it's Gillett, but I've suddenly started turning some of our regulars into French names for some reason. Do you guys ever consider? What do you guys consider still life photography versus just something that isn't moving? Very simple question. Stay safe, everyone. Love, Ben. It's an interesting one, actually, because still life I would always think of. I'm going back to my art school days with Mr. Norbury. Still life would always be flowers or something like that. Didn't really step outside that environment.
I don't know. That's a very, very weird question, isn't it?
It might be a bit left field, yeah.
Anything that's not moving, I suppose. But yeah, I guess if you had to dissect it down, perhaps it would be the image has to be something where the object is the most obvious thing. So flowers, for example, whatever. You wouldn't just take a picture of your keyboard.
No, Louis Garvan could, though, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He can make anything look amazing. Still life, of course, looking at the incredible work of Don McCullin. Look at his still life work.
That's true, yeah.
There's an undercurrent of darkness in there, but it's incredible work, isn't it? If you've never looked at Don McCullin's still life work, go and look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. I love looking at things, especially Lewis's kind of flowers and everything. And I love all that. It's very cathartic, isn't it?
I think it is. Are you going to do some of that now with your GFX? Are you going to set anything up like that?
I was thinking. I showed Gemma some of Lewis's stuff, and she was like, "Well, I could style that easily." And I said, "Okay," but then she decided to go and draw a life-size picture of the kids on the kitchen wall instead.
But I'm sure she'd be first up there for doing some still life in the studio.
The Daily Show Photo Challenge.
As long as that's all it is. Right, Daily Photo Challenge, Thursday. What did we have last Thursday?
We had 50s.
Oh, yes. That was a tricky one, I thought, but people rose to that one as well.
They did rise to it. And there was a lot of pictures that definitely weren't taken on the day.
Yes.
I'm looking just right now at one from Asen Velichkov.
Yep.
Which is a
picture
of...
Do you need to clear your throat?
A picture of presumably his little boy in that, and it's a beautiful picture, in that abandoned airliner in Iceland. You know, the one that
yeah. It's almost like a rite of passage when people go to Iceland to photograph that thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is a really interesting take on it. So it's a really beautiful black and white. So that was nice. Could have been taken in the 50s, of course. There's lots of cars and, kind of shots of people have taken pictures of pictures. I like this one. This one was a little bit of a quirky one from Hubert Steve Cole. And it's a bowl of Quaker oats and a piece of toast. And he said, my breakfast today, which is identical to my breakfast before heading off to high school in the late 50s. So that was
clever.
That was an interesting one.
Yes, very clever. Yeah,
and it could have been in the 50s. There's no kind of real identifiers in it. There was one. Now I'm going back because we had again nearly 200. So I'm not going to go through all of them. Now the one that
was there really 200 for the 50s? 50s one. Oh my word.
Yeah, something like that. So David Colopy is the one that I liked. One that really struck me because this is clearly like a modern day picture, but very, very much could have been in the 50s. So it's a picture of presumably his little boy peering over the fence in a pair of shorts, and it's really cool. The way he's edited it is really cool. Looks like it's out of a comic book, from the 50s. And the boy's dressed with his little white socks and his plimsolls, and he just looks like he's up to mischief. I can imagine that little boy now with a what they call it, a slingshot, what they call it? Is this a slingshot? With a catapult. Yeah. Aiming at the cats or Mrs. Dando next door or something like that.
Mrs. Dando, right? Okay.
So that was the one that I really liked the best. So it's good effort, everybody.
Well
50s.
done. Well done.
Tough one.
New one for today then. What have we got?
Okay, no, I am really, really struggling with ideas now. Okay, I thought this would be a very good idea. But so today...
I know it's going to be a good idea. I can feel it in my waters.
Today, I am going to insist that it is a photograph that you take today.
Yesterday's would have been because you got them to put the date on it.
Correct. Yeah. So today's one is... I want you to take a picture of the thing, thing, not person or animal, the thing that you would grab first if your house was burning down. What's the one thing in your house that you would never be able to live without?
Oh, very interesting.
Not a person or an animal, though.
No, because we're taking for granted that you'd probably escape with all your loved ones anyway. You'd clear them out first, then you'd go back to collect your whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What would yours be?
I'm just trying to think of it now. I suppose.
One thing. Not a collection of things. One thing.
Only one. What if I've got a bag? I can fit them all in that little bag. Really, only one thing.
No, because then your bag is a thing in its own right.
Oh. What about my? Well, see, I'm really torn there because really, I should be saying something like.
Hurry up, because I can smell the smoke.
I should be saying something like my picture of my little cube at the back with all the pictures of me as a young lad. Yeah, no, that, because I was going to say that or my Apollo twin, Universal Audio Apollo twin thing that makes my voice sound nice. But I can buy another one of those. So I'm going to take the cube at the back that has all the pictures of mum and dad and me as a kid. There we go.
Well done. So that's the theme. The thing in your house, the one thing in your house that you could not live without.
Yeah. Okay, very good one. Have we got time for one more, or is it time, gentlemen, please? What do you think?
Go on then.
Very quick. And Andreas Noah. Dear Neil, dear Kev, of course, first of all, I want to say thank you and yada, yada, yada. Although he says yada, yada. I love your humour, despite being German and without humour, normally. And that his words, not mine. He said that. We do have a very good listenership in Germany. I know that, because you look at it, and when I look at the stats, I think, how comes we're so big in Germany? which is lovely. So thank you very much to all the Germans that do listen. But Andreas Noah said that, not me. I looked at the World Press Photo Awards and realised that besides the overall winner for Photograph of the Year, which was shot on Fujifilm, also the World Press Photo Story Award was given to a Fujifilm shooter. He used the X100 series. Being a new X100F user, mostly based on Kevin's preaching, and on Fujifilm since a year and a half, started with an XT3, I'm quite astonished by his reportage work from Algeria. Amazing that he took the whole series with this little camera. So it wasn't really a question, it was a point. But there were some superb pictures in that collection. And you did actually contact me, didn't you, and say, look at all these, they're Fujifilm ones. I did, because Cuneo, who is the basically the granddaddy of all of the Fujifilm cameras, he put something on Facebook. He said, I can't remember the exact words, but it was, and it was translated from Japanese, and it was something like, my life's dream has been realised. And and then it was the press photos, Yeah. Oh, amazing. So, and you're right. You need to go look those. Do you think we could put a link down for that? Yeah. I'll put it on the Facebook group. Oh, no, sorry, on the website. On the FujiCast.co.uk. On that note, don't forget you can send your questions in. Please keep doing it to click at FujiCast.co.uk. It's click at FujiCast.co.uk. And, we'll be back tomorrow. Bye-bye. The FujiCast is an independent loading zone production. Email the show with your questions and words of wisdom to click@fujicast.co.uk. Email any complaints and political nonsense to our wives, who will deal with your comments in their own good time and in their own good way.